Hello and welcome. I am Koti, one of the directors at Unique Group. Today we will do an in-depth walkthrough of your EPCG license. We will explain each field from header to the fine print so that you have a complete understanding of every field on EPCG license. First, I will show you how the old paper-based EPCG license looks like. This is how the old paper-based EPCG license looks like. On the first page, you can find EPCG license number and relevant customer notification number mentioned here. This is the file number which is refers to DGFT. This is the category of license. This is your IEC license number. This is the concern customs port where you are importing the capital goods, and here the capital goods will be cleared by the concerned custom officer. This is the category of exporter or type of exporter, whether it is a merchant exporter or manufacturer exporter. This is your company name and complete address mentioned here. This is the duty saved value. What are the capital goods you are importing that you are saving the quantum of the value here mentioned on the EPCG license number. This is the export obligation, which is equal to 6 times of your duty saved amount mentioned here as a Indian rupees. This is in foreign currency. Actually, it's mentioned here in dollar. This is the license issue date mentioned here on the bottom of the EPCG license. This is import validity mentioned here for import of your capital goods. If you've seen the backside of the EPCG license, here the customs people will mention the concern registration number. As explained earlier, we have to submit bond bank guarantee to the concerned customs authority for clearance of goods. After verification of the documents by the customs officer, they will generate one number that's called a registration number. This is the bond number which will be generated by the custom officer. This is the quantum of bank guarantee mentioned here, whether it is a 15% bank guarantee or 100% bank guarantee. It should depend on your eligibility as per the terms and conditions by the foreign trade policy. This is the bill of entry number mentioned by the custom officer. It will be generated while import of the capital goods. The custom officer verify the import documents and then they will file a bill of entry. On the bill of entry, the custom officer will debit the duties. Whatever the duty mentioned on the EPCG license, initially they have mentioned here. Thereafter, whatever the duty you have utilized or saved, that will be mentioned by the officer against that particular machinery. If you are importing machinery one times or 2 times or 3 times, custom officer will mention each shipment wise bill of entry details will be mentioned on the backside of the EPCG license. Here, the second time the importer imported the capital goods against the bill of entry, which is imported on 7th February 2014. At the time of import, they have utilized this much of value against EPCG scheme. In 2021, DGFT has completely digitalized their operation and stopped issue a paper-based EPCG license. Since then, they are providing EPCG license in PDF form, which are digitally signed. Now we will look at the digital EPCG license. Here you will find the EPCG authorization number, import validity and export obligation period mentioned here. This is the company name. This is your address. This is your IEC. This is the exporter type, whether you are a merchant exporter or manufacturer exporter. Here, exporter status will be printed if you are an export star export also holder, like 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. They will be printed here. If you are the regular exporting since last 3 to 4 years, you can take a export of certificate to avail BJ exemption. Then the export of certificate category will be printed here. This is the transferable / actual user condition. EPCG license will be issued a actual user. If you are importing the capital goods, you have to install the machinery in your factory premises, and then you have to manufacture a end oblique export product. Then you have to fulfill the export obligation within 6 years times, as explained earlier. This is the file number, as explained earlier. This is the reference for the DZT purpose only. On the base of this file number only, they can find a file in their records. Issuing department and officer name will be mentioned here. This is the officer who digitally signed. This is the duty saved value mentioned here. If you seen here, FOB value mentioned here in Indian rupees and dollar terms. In terms of foreign trade policy, FOB means free on board. But in terms of EPCG terms and conditions, free on board means export obligation value. It is 6 times of the duty paid value. If you find the EPCG license here, the value is mentioned in Indian rupees. It is equal to 6 times of the duty saved amount. If you find here, if you calculate 1.44 CR into 6 times, then the value will be comes around 8.68 crores. This is the value mentioned here in dollar terms. This is the port of registration mentioned appear here. The port of registration means whatever the capital goods you are importing in India, the machinery will be comes at the concern port authority. There, the custom officers will verify your documents like EPCC license and your bond, bank guarantee, everything. Then the custom department will clear your goods. This is the port of registration. This is the period of shipment. Period of shipment means export obligation period. This will be calculated from the date of issue of the license. That is called export obligation period, as we have already discussed in our earlier video. Here they have mentioned 6 years. Okay. Then validity of authorization. Validity of authorization means whatever the capital goods you are importing, once you have taken EPCG license, you should have to import the capital goods within 24 months from the date of EPCG license. This is the customs notification number. Custom notification number, we will discuss later about this custom notification number. What is custom notification number? Why this custom notification number is printed on EPCG license? About this custom notification number, we will discuss later. Okay, this is the general currency area. Refers to all countries except those countries with which India has a specific bilateral trade agreement. Details of item to be exported supplies under the EPCG authorization. Export of goods means whatever the capital goods you are importing, okay, against that capital goods, whatever the products you are manufacturing, that products you should have to declare here. If you see this EPCG license here, export item name is clearly mentioned. This is the related to EPCG license for export of rice. Here they have mentioned export product as a rice. So many types of rices are there, like basmati rice, ask brown rice, parboiled rice. While obtainment of EPCG license, you have to submit a chartered engineer certificate about nexus certificate. If you are importing the machinery related to rice, then you have to fulfill the export obligation of rice only. No other product, no other alternative product. If you are importing pharmaceutical machinery, then you have to export related to pharma products only. No other products. If you go through the third page, details of items sought to be imported duty free under the authorization. Items means capital goods. Okay, capital goods means for preparation of end oblique export product. Here, technical item description, technical feature and description of the machinery, HSN code, quantity, UOM, unit of measurements, and here duty saved value will be appear here on the third page. If you see the EPCG license here, name and address of the supporting manufacturer, factory, oblique premises, oblique project site, that should have to declare while obtainment of EPCG license. Okay, this is your company name and this is your factory address, complete factory address. This is your GST registration number, and this is the concerned jurisdictional GST office address will be appear here on the EPCG license. Now we will discuss about condition sheets which is attached to EPCG license. This consists of various rules and regulations that you need to follow under EPCG scheme. We will discuss about important points which are mentioned on the condition sheets. If you go through the point number 3, capital goods defined in para 11.08 read with para 5.01 of the FTP 2023 only shall be allowed for import oblique domestic procurement against this authorization. However, import oblique procurement of capital goods covered under Appendix 5F are not allowed under EPCG authorization. Okay, if you seen the Appendix 5F, there is a specific conditions mentioned on Appendix 5. Some of the capital goods are not allowed to import under EPCG scheme. Okay, let's discuss about Appendix 5F. List of capital goods not permitted, oblique permitted for import subject to specific condition under the EPCG scheme. For examples, cables permitted only as a integrated part of capital goods means whatever the cables you need to import or you are importing the cables that should have to attach with the machinery. If you see in the point number 2, railway wagons. Railway wagons are not permitted under EPCG scheme. Tractors. Tractors also not permitted. Trucks. Trucks, oblique trippers, dumpers, and spares thereof, including layers, permitted only for mining sector. So, if you see in the Appendix 5F, so many items mentioned, more than 15 items are mentioned here in Appendix 5F. These are all the specific terms and conditions listed in Appendix 5F. Okay, so let's go. Point number 4. This EPCG authorization shall be utilized according with the provision of the foreign trade policy and the consent notification 26/23 customs dated 1st April 2023. If you see in the customs notification number, this is the issued by the customs department. Okay, so here the central government notifies regarding the implementation of EPCG scheme under foreign trade policy. Means whatever the capital goods are importing under EPCG scheme, it's a completely you can import under duty free without paying any single rupee to custom department, subject to a special condition, yeah, specific condition that you need to fulfill the export obligation within the 6 years time. Let's talk about the point number 5. Import procurement of capital goods under this authorization shall be subject to actual user condition till export obligation is completed and export obligation discharge certificate is granted by the regional authority. Okay, this is the point number 5 is actual user condition. As already discussed about this, what is the actual user condition? So if you see in the point number 6, point number 6 refers to installation certificate. What is installation certificate? Whatever the capital goods we are importing, that we have to install in our factory premises. Let's see about point number 6. Authorization holder shall submit a installation certificate either from the jurisdictional customs authority or an independent chartered engineer to the regional authority. Regional authority means DGFT within 6 months, can be extended by 12 more months by RA. It's a depend on the terms and conditions. If you are not able to install the capital goods within 6 months, basically what happens, you are importing a huge large quantum of capital goods are importing, that time it is not possible to install a capital goods within 6 months, then we can make a request to department that we are not able to install the capital goods within six months time, so we need a further 6 months or 1 year time. On the base of our request, regional authority means the DZFT department will give a extension for further 12 months. Okay. Then if you see the point number 7 regarding installation of spares. Okay, in case of import of spares, the installation certificate shall be submitted by the authorization holder within a period of 3 years from the date of import oblique domestic procurement. Okay, next point number 9. Authorization holder shall have a fulfill export obligation in terms of 5.04 of the FTP, read with 5.10 of the FTP. Means 5.10. What is the 5.10 of the HBP? Means it's a conditions of the export obligation. How to fulfill the export obligation? How you can make a exports? The terms and conditions were mentioned in the 5.10 of the foreign trade policy of the HBP. Sorry. Okay. So let's talk about point number 10. If you see in the point number 10, authorization holder shall be under export obligation to export items as per details mentioned in this authorization. The export obligation shall be 6 times of duty saved on import of capital goods on FOB base within a period of 6 years. Okay, this is related to fulfillment of export obligation. Okay, means we have to fulfill export obligation within 6 years term equal to 6 times of the duty saved amount. In this point, there is a two conditions are there. Already we discussed in our earlier video that we have to fulfill minimum 50% export obligation into 1 to 4 years. Remaining should be in next 2 years. Okay. Next, point number 30. Authorization holder shall submit within 2 months from the date of expiry of the export obligation period documents as prescribed under para 5.02 of the HBP 23 as amended from time to time as evidence fulfillment of export obligation imposed on the authorization. In case of bona fide default, provision paragraph 5.21 of the HBP as amended from time to time shall be applied. Okay, if your export obligation was fulfilled, you have to submit the prescribed documents for closure of your EPCG license within 2 months after completion of your export obligation period. Means whatever the original export obligation period was given on EPCG license, if you have fulfilled the export obligation, you should have to submit within 2 months from the date of expiry of the license. Some people what would do, they fulfill the export obligation, but they forgotten to submit the documents. So some cases what happens, it's delay, and then department will be issued a show cause notice, demand notice. Even customs also will give a pressurized to us by giving show cause notice, order in original. So many things we have to take care about. Once you are taking EPCG license, we have to take care about this scheme until fulfillment of export obligation, right? Okay, so see the point number 15 condition what they have mentioned on EPCG license. Every EPCG authorization holder shall maintain for a period of 2 years from the redemption a true and proper account of exports, supplies made and services rendered towards fulfillment of export obligation. Okay, once you fulfill the export obligation, we will submit documents to department. Department will process the application and give or issue a redemption certificate. Once the redemption certificate issued, we will submit that letter to customs. Okay. So when your EPCG license was closed or redeemed, you should have to maintain a proper record until 2 years time in terms of the condition mentioned at point number 15. Okay. Then see about next we will discuss about point number 16. What point number 16 says, authorization holder shall submit RA concern a report for fulfillment of export obligation through online mode after expiry of first block period of your first block period of 4 years and continuously till the expiry of valid EO period. Such report shall obtain statement with details of shipping bill, invoice number, bill of export, FRC number with date and number as applicable. What point number 16 says, if you have fulfilled export obligation, even if you're not made any exports, even nil exports, understood? If you have not done any export against this particular EPCG license, you have to submit a nil returns once the first block is expired. First block means 4 years from the date of EPCG license. This is the main condition you should have to take care while obtainment of EPCG license. We at Unigroup can help you apply, manage and close your EPCG license smoothly. If you find this explanation is helpful, please subscribe our channel for more videos on government subsidies and export incentives. Thank you for watching.